As you know, if you've been following this channel, I use COMC quite a bit, but I have never yet tried to sell any of my cards in a port sale. And I thought I would give it a try, partially for the channel and partially because I have a bunch of cards coming in. 742 are waiting to come in. That's going to cost $370. You know, I have enough money for that, but I also am wanting to bring in more cards. I'm waiting to ship off until this number goes off up a little bit. So I thought if I tried to sell off some cards, I'm not trying to take a loss on them. I'm not in this to try to like offload. It's not a big deal, but I thought I would try. No reason not to. So if you want to do this, you go to the promotions manager here. Then you would go port sale continue. Now I actually already pressed this button and started a draft, but that's what you would do normally. So it's going to cost $5 a week or until it's sold. I'm probably just going to try this for 1 week. What I've decided to do, because I've already kind of reflected on this, is to do baseball. The reason is because it's the baseball season now. I don't have that many baseball. I don't want to put up my basketball ones. There's too many of them. It's too high of a thing. I don't want to take a loss on some of those. I already have most of those listed as the lowest price. This is actually kind of interesting way to look and see what your inventory looks like in different sports though, actually. So just kind of interesting if you do have a decent sized port to come in here and you can kind of analyze your different spaces so I can see, the approximate numbers for basketball. Now, by the way, a lot of times you'll see that the total asking price is a lot higher than the total SRP, and that's entirely because of this number here. Out of these 651, 407 of them don't have a suggested retail price according to COMC, so only a third of them do. So this total SRP is actually based on a third of the card. So this SRP really actually means pretty much nothing as far as I'm concerned. So I just ignore the SRP completely. I don't know if other people do when they look at the ports. I don't know if if this looks weird, if somebody saw this port sale and say, oh, they're asking for more money than it's worth. But if you look at all this, I'm not at all. In fact, I think on 90% of these cards, I'm the lowest. I'm already the lowest person. But that's basketball. So anyway, I've decided to do baseball because it is, it's the baseball season, but it's coming to an end soon, so I don't know how much longer. Baseball's going to, be kind of one of the hot sports. Football's already kind of starting in there, so I kind of figured maybe baseball. And I'm partially doing it because I have enough, enough to make it worth trying this. I have 95 cards here. I don't want to put all of them in because actually I don't want to sell this one in a port. I really like that one. So basically what I've decided to do, since most of these are newer, is I am going to update this. Instead of all of the baseball cards, I'm going to go from 2002 to 2022. So that gets rid of 4 cards. That one Willie Mays card I didn't really want to sell, as well as 3 Deion Sanders cards that I don't mind selling separately either. So it doesn't make too much of a difference, and then it doesn't sell off that Willie Mays card that I'd rather not put into a port. So now I can look here and see that based on these cards here, I have them for sale at $773.30. Now when you put the buy now price, you have to put it, this could be the highest number you put on the buy now price right there. But nobody's going to pay what they would pay for the buy now because they could just go and do that independently, individually. But I'm probably going to be listing mine somewhat close to that because again, I think this one I might have overpriced a little bit because I see a lot of potential in him. But I think for the most part, for the rest of the cards, I think for the most part, and pretty good deals. So I am going to go ahead and put like for the immediate one, 750. Again, if you're looking to just offload cards, you'd probably be willing to put a lower number here. I'm not looking to, if I don't sell this for a decent amount, I'm not going to even bother with this because these will sell eventually. So it's not a huge deal. So I'm going to put a minimum offer of 500 here to just see what happens. Again, this is my first time. I don't know if I'm doing this the right way, but let's do that. 750. You know what? I'm going to actually put that at 400 just in case. I don't think I'll take any 400s, but let's just see what offers I get. And then here, when you feature, these are going to be the selecting up to 12 items that are going to be on the main page. So when people first click on the page. Okay, so now I've got 12. Let's see. You could choose a listing date if you want. I'm going to leave it there. Okay. Let me go ahead and save changes and continue. Okay, see, the buy it now has to be less than that. So now I'm just going to put it down to, if you want to buy it now, for 750. So let me think, because okay, I'll do 740. That didn't lower it that much. Okay, let's see what happens. This is exciting. So okay, so it's there. It's going to start anytime. It's going to be 1 week. They have the standard 5% transaction fee. That's always there. Okay. Let's see what happens. Worst case scenario, I'm throwing away $5. Hey, look, so I went away for a little bit and came back, and here is my port. 2002 to 2022 baseball. So this is the one, $740. Looks like it was put up about 50 minutes ago. So if you click on it, you can see, this is the same data that I had access to before. So again, like I mentioned before, this is the original sales price of all the cards in there. The SRP is much lower, but again, that's because 73 of these cards don't have an SRP. So that SRP is actually only for the 18 cards that do have an SRP. So SRP means nothing. It really doesn't. I don't understand. I really don't understand. I think there's something COMC does with like Beckett somehow to determine that SRP. I don't really know. And the numbers are so far off of anything realistic that I've never been able to figure out the purpose of that. So then here we have, these are the 12 cards that you saw me check. And then they're organized by the most expensive to the cheapest. I think if you don't choose anything specifically there, they just automatically put up the 12 most expensive cards in your port. But yeah, you can pick and choose if you think, like I wanted to get a little bit of a mix. I got a couple of graded cards, even though most of it's raw, a couple of graded cards I put in there. And even though most of these are either like really cheap ones or like, decent Bowman Chrome autos, I put a lot of the autos because I know those are popular, but I also threw in like these two, for example, popular names, numbered card Vlad with a patch, and a numbered card of Cal Ripken, just because it's gives a little bit more mix to what might be in there, maybe gets people to look a little closer. I think there's other ways that people will approach this, but sometimes the ways that people will do things I feel are a little bit manipulative. Like I've seen people who will also, as well as having a port sale, they'll also have a regular sale. They'll raise up all of their prices by a bunch, and then they'll put it on sale for 50% off or whatever. And so you'll look in here and you'll see a card like this. It'll have $60, and then it'll be crossed off and say $30. And I think the idea is they're trying to fool people into thinking they're getting a better deal and that they better take advantage of this opportunity right now. But those kind of approaches I personally find kind of manipulative, and I can't get my brain to think in that way, and I don't want my brain to be trained to think in that way. So I'm just leaving the prices here. Generally I always try to keep my prices as the lowest on COMC if possible. Every once in a while they're not. If it's a card that I think is going to go up later or something like that, I might not always put it. Like there was that $45 card on here that's not on the featured list, but I didn't put it up on here specifically because I feel like he was a player whose cards are going to go up. So I was pricing it for the future, but most of the time I don't do that. That's a rare thing. Generally, I'm kind of looking to move things a bit quicker. So if you do go in to buy ports, do keep aware of that. People will do different things to, maybe they'll make sure they get cards that are all having the SRP, so the SRP looks really, really high. But again, the SRP is sometimes so far off. There could be cards that have an SRP on here of like $40 when really it's a $5 card. I see that sometimes. So don't put too much stock in this number here. More look at like what that is. What I do when I come through is I look and see, okay, are the prices that the person is putting up, are they fair? Like as their base price, I'll look through a handful of them and see if they're fair. And if they are, then I'll look deeper into that port. I wouldn't automatically just accept like the 12 cards on here. I would say, okay, these 12 cards give you a picture of whether it's something you want to dig deeper into, but there's actually 91 cards in here. So if you actually truly wanted to consider buying the port, you'd probably want to go take a closer look at all 91 of those cards to get a better sense of if it's a good deal. Because I'm selling, as you saw, I'm selling like all of my baseball cards. That includes cheap stuff, that includes this slightly better stuff, but you can come through and now you have a way to search through all. There's only 70 right here. I'm not sure why. I've never been able to figure that out because it says 70 here, but you saw me upload 91 cards, so I really have no idea why there's only 70 when I look through here. That's weird. I don't know, because I see that in other ports too. Actually, if anybody from COMC is watching this, maybe you can let me know why it says 70 when I'm searching through the cards independently here. That's weird, because that means there's 21 cards that aren't in this section right here. So you can see here there's 91 cards. So I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe somebody from COMC, I know some people from COMC occasionally watch my videos. So if you can clarify that point, because I know for me as a buyer, that's what's kept me from bidding on some things, because if I can't see every card that I'm bidding on, it's going to be difficult for me to bid on it. So you saw you saw most of the pages already. So if you did want to bid on this, keep that in mind. I think you guys have a little bit of an unfair advantage if you've seen this, because you saw what my minimum offer was and all that stuff. But again, like I said, I'm not going to automatically accept a minimum offer. Basically, what I'm going to do if somebody makes an offer, I'll look closer. I put that minimum offer as a way to create a space for me to reflect, basically, because I don't know I think I have to look a little closer. If somebody offers me 700, I'm pretty sure I'll just say okay right away because a 10% discount, that's no problem to me. If somebody offers me 500, I'll probably go through and look and see if it's worth it to me. I'm not trying. Some people will be more likely to accept it if they're just trying to offload stuff quickly. I'm not trying to offload stuff quickly. I'm more experimenting with this, and I still want to make profit on these cards. And if I don't do it in a port sale, if it doesn't make profit, then I'm just not gonna. 1 week's gonna pass, and I'm not gonna sell, and it will have been an interesting experiment. But I think somebody can get a good deal on these because there's some stock cards. I don't necessarily go for baseball that much unless I think there's a real chance to do some profit. I don't really collect baseball cards. So with baseball, I'm mostly flipping. So I'm figuring these are flipping opportunities. So if somebody comes in and gets this whole lot for $600, they probably can, with a little bit of time, resell it for $750 without too much of a problem because I tend to put my prices pretty low. So. Anyway, I'm not trying to advertise for myself too much there. It's kind of sounded like it though. Apologies. So anyway, I'll let you know if I get any offers or what happens with this as time goes by. But that's it for this part. Peace.